We've not yet confirmed the cause of the ongoing outbreak. Therefore, in 6 days, we will have no choice but to deploy a large incendiary bomb, destroying all organic life within the city limits.
We have stepped outside of the Microsoft booth here in the Business Center at Gamescom to talk a little bit to the senior producer on Dead Rising 3. Jason here is gonna, well, you know, introduce us to Dead Rising 3. What's the setting here? Because it seems a little bit different than what we're used to seeing from Dead Rising, right?
Oh, definitely. So Dead Rising 3, this is a Microsoft exclusive Xbox One. It's going to be a launch title, and just working on the hardware, I think, has sort of changed the whole complexion of the series. We've always been a game about density. We've always been a game about lots of weapons and tons of zombies, but in smaller spaces. And what the Xbox One has allowed us to do is actually go up to full city size, fully open streaming worlds, no loads whatsoever, and because of that, there's even more opportunity for zombie carnage.
And something that I've always enjoyed with Dead Rising is the sort of the humor in it. But it seems like you switched the tone is a little bit darker. Or is that just the visuals, or are you going for a little bit of a darker tone?
Well, this time I think we wanted to create a little bit more contrast between the humor. I mean, out of the box, I think if you've seen any of the gameplay footage, it may look a little bit more serious, a little bit more mainstream, but we made sure to keep that humor in there. So it's more sort of user access now. You dive in, find the crazy combination weapons and the clothing and so on, and once you put all those elements together, you know, the game can look like a classic sort of kooky Dead Rising game.
Because I think fans would be very upset unless they were able to sort of dress up and wear sort of costumes, and Capcom, a lot of sort of fan service things there that you sort of have to include, I guess, if it's a Dead Rising game.
Yeah, well, we definitely made sure to have some nods to the Capcom fans. We got some homages in there that I think you'll see, some neat Street Fighter stuff. But definitely, I mean, the fans are what drives the franchise, and we wanted to make sure that they were happy. And I think that what they're going to find when they jump in is maybe at first the game isn't, you know, the Dead Rising franchise that they know and love, but as soon as they start playing, I think they'll really appreciate sort of the extra love that we put into the weapons, the size of the world, and still all of that humor is still intact.
So the structure of the game, what's it like? Because you know, what I've learned is that you have this objective. You can take you have to make your way into the city. And is it as open as that, or will there be missions along the way instead of in a more structured way, the way the earlier games have been?
Yeah, definitely there's a story and there's a set of missions. We're not really talking too much about that right now. At Gamescom, our demo is focused mostly around the sandbox, and we wanted to show off tons of our cool weapons, combo weapons, brand new feature as well, which is the combo vehicles. So in the past, you've been able to take weapons, put those together. Now you can actually take any two vehicles, put those together, and come up with these crazy combinations.
I think that sounds good. A lot of zombies and crazy vehicles.
Yeah. Yeah, with the size of the world and the number of zombies that we're able to put on screen, we needed to come up with bigger and bigger ways that you could actually kill them and defend yourself. So weapons aren't enough. We got to move up to vehicles.
So I heard something about this crazy sort of machine gun claws that you could create. Can you expand a little bit on that?
I think that's probably the jazz hands. So that's gloves combined with guns. So you can imagine how that would work.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. But it feels that it's very heavy, but
yeah, well, that's the beauty of being a video game, is you can push the boundaries and you can put some really cool stuff in there. So yeah, tons of combo weapons. We have more than 100 combo weapons this time around. We have more than 100 base weapons. We have tons and tons of vehicles. Yeah, it's a beautiful big open sandbox. We like to think of it as the ultimate open world zombie action game.
So in terms of the combo weapons, I'm sure there are like fan favorites that you have to bring back, that you sort of know you got to bring those back. Are there any that you're talking about now that you can guarantee will be back there in this game?
Yeah, we've got a few. The Blambo, which was one of my favorites from Dead Rising 2, was a bow and fireworks. And this time we put a bit of a tweak on it. We've got a crossbow combined with fireworks, a little bit more range, a little bit more accurate. Yeah, tons of brand new ones as well. And some of the crazy ideas the designers have come up with, working with the software engineers and the artists, I think the fans are really going to appreciate them.
And I guess that the grander scope also forces you to come up with some new ideas to sort of cater to that, because you need to use them a little bit differently. But are the zombies any different, or have you switched them up in any way?
Well, definitely. The zombies are the heart of Dead Rising, so we knew that we needed to push those even further. So, first of all, on the art side, we've got a lot more sort of mix and match kit system. So there's way more variety. On top of just variety in the base horde, there's a lot more special zombies. So we have zombies that were football players before they were zombified. So they still have their padding, they're tougher, they're aggressive. We have police zombies, we have firefighter zombies, convict zombies. But beyond just the art aspect of it as well, we knew that we had to push the AI. So we've got horde awareness now. So when one zombie gets attracted to you, they kind of share their awareness. And if you hang around one place for too long, all the zombies will start to turn into this big horde and crush in on you. But the beauty of their AI and them being dumb zombies is you can actually turn their instincts against them. They're attracted to lights, they're attracted to sound, and there's a number of weapons in the game that you can actually use to catch their attention, either to distract them or to set traps for them, bring them into one spot, and then kill them all at one go.
So, characters are, of course, important in the Dead Rising franchise as well. Everyone loves Frank West, for instance, and you had Shaq in the second game, and Frank came back again. In terms of characters and sort of returning characters, is that anything you're revealing about that, or?
Yeah, no details on returning characters yet. This is the third game in the series. It's sort of the end of a trilogy in a way, and because of that, we wanted this story to sort of involve elements of Dead Rising 1, Dead Rising 2, and even some elements before Dead Rising 1, and basically bring the whole sort of canon of Dead Rising together into the one game. The new hero of the franchise is Nick Ramos. He's a young mechanic. He has a mysterious past that sort of unfolds in the story. And because he's a mechanic, that brings in new abilities for him. The combo weapons, which Chuck Green was able to do in Dead Rising 2, he can do them as well. The difference is he doesn't need a workbench. He can do those anywhere in the world.
That's pretty sweet. And I guess that's always like good if you're always on the move and you have a bigger world as well, that you don't have to sort of be locked down to those workbenches and the ones that it makes sense in this sort of, because the game is a little bit different in structure, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we found very early on in development that going to a bench and taking items over there, when the world is so large, either there would have to be tons of these benches everywhere, or we had to just sort of get rid of that system. And in the end, really what we wanted to do this time is we wanted to make a game that was all about player freedom, play your own way, and because of that, we had to really open up a lot of these systems and make them much more accessible. I think another example would be the leveling system. In the past, we've always had a leveling system, but it's been a linear system. This time round, instead, we've added a system where you level, you earn attribute points, and then you can spend those attribute points in any way that you want. So if you want to increase your life, if you want to increase your inventory, maybe you want better combat, you can spend in that way. Another great thing about that system is we have combo categories. So when you pick up a weapon blueprint, which gives you a recipe of this weapon plus this weapon, what the combo categories does is allows you to take any weapon from a category and use that in place of the specific item. So over time, what the system allows you to do is create anything, anywhere, at any time.
Oh, that's promising. And I guess it also helps the pacing of the game a lot when players are sort of like, it's a little bit more modern in that sense, perhaps.
Yeah, definitely. We got to keep up with the times. A lot of other games that they're pushing the boundaries, and a lot of games that we're fans of, and we want to keep up. We actually want to be one of the top games in the industry now, and that's the thing that's amazing. Being here at Gamescom is such an honor for us, because we're going to be right there at launch in November on the Xbox One. And it's incredibly exciting. The team has done a fantastic job really pushing home, hard back at home right now while we're off at the show promoting the game, and it's something I think that's going to be a career achievement for a lot of us.
So you talked a little bit about what next gen affords you in terms of the sort of the the game design and the scope of it. Are there any other next-gen features that, or like benefits that you will be taking advantage of?
Yeah, definitely. Connect, of course. So we've got some Connect features, using your voice to call zombies, survivor commands, being able to voice those rather than have to use the controller. But also Smart Glass. So this time we have a whole set of exclusive Smart Glass features where you can take any tablet, any smartphone, get the Smart Glass app, which is free, and then extend the game. So entirely optional, but when you're using the Smart Glass, you have an exclusive set of missions, a brand new sort of mini story that ties into the main story, and then tons of apps like store finders, item finders, the ability to call in survivors, and then biggest of all is military apps. So now in Dead Rising you can actually call in airstrikes and drone strikes.
Any social features to connect players? I mean, it's a single player experience, but to sort of tie things together, or do you have anything like that planned?
Well, single player is the heart of the game, but of course we have co-op, and again, with such a big open world, we found that co-op is even more fun this time than it was in Dead Rising 2 because of the crazy situations you can get yourself into. We don't have tethering, so you don't need to be right beside your buddy all the time. You can go to one side of the city, he can go to the other side of the city, and then only when it comes to key story moments do you have to come back together.
And then a third guy can sit with his iPad in the couch next to those guys and help them out, right?
Yeah, that's the beauty of the Smart Glass, is you can have a buddy that's just sitting there, and while you're doing your thing with the controller, he can be helping you out, calling in survivors, shooting military flares to distract the zombies, finding items for you. That's really cool.
So we're going to leave you here and let you get back to your team and finish the game, because I'm sure that the last few months is going to be a lot of work, always hectic to push for a next-gen launch, but sometime in November, I guess, we'll be seeing Dead Rising 3.
Yep, launch will be there opening day.
Thank you very much for
Okay,
your time.
thank you very much.